What does it look like to partner with the customer support?
So there's here at Density, there's a couple different ways that I do this. So in an ideal world, you're actually getting to go on customer conversations with CS teams. And why that's an ideal world is because we all as human beings, it's a game of like telephone. We all as human beings kind of filter and alter our word choice and paraphrase things. So someone from the CS team might be talking about something that the customer said, but they might be changing some of the language. And they don't realize that I, as a content marketer, that language, that literally exact verbiage is really important for me, not just from like potentially a search traffic sort of element where, if you think something, you usually probably search it like that, but also in like a subatomic sort of like when I'm reading something and I see something on paper that matches this internal dialogue in my head, I think to myself, well, they get me. I understand this. Like I'm with you here. So I need that exact verbiage, right? So the ideal scenario is that I am on calls with customers whenever possible, because then I can also ask some questions to the customers as well that the CS team might not. But that's not scalable, and nor is that necessarily the most ideal. Customers have a CS team and customers have a very good relationship, and you don't want to violate that with them. But marketers tend to have a certain sort of vibe with customers. Perhaps they like want to back away from the marketers, right? And so like I
Mm.
respect that. So there's other ways to do that with tooling. So like we use Catalyst here at Density, which is where the CS team kind of like documents their conversations. So we use that, but then again, that's a filter where some things might be paraphrased and we might lose some natural conversations and cadences. So the other thing that I would say is listen to recorded calls often. We use Gong, and Gong is a fantastic tool because you can search through things as well. I would say that in addition to podcasts, of course, Gong should be a regular audio treat for content marketers 100%, whether it be with sales and customers or CS and customers for sure. The amount of information that I gather from Gong recordings is invaluable for sure.
Mm.
And then lastly, just honestly, like it's really important to have a rapport with the CS team. So like it's great that I can do all this stuff like async and a scalable nature, but like these are human beings on the other end. So it's really important. Like we use Donut here. I don't know if you know what Donut is via Slack, where like it just randomly pairs you up with other people across the organization and you can just spend 25, 30 minutes chit-chatting about work if you want or whatever you want. That's a huge tool for us. I've met a lot of my CS team and gotten to know them better but certainly just like, commenting on when they post something on Slack and just saying like, that's great thing. Can I follow up with you on that? Just making sure that like, especially if you're in a distributed workforce, making sure that you're having conversations with these people beyond just the ask is really important because then they're more willing to think about you in these instances and
Mm.
more willing to
Yeah.
like trust you to then be invited to this very sacred relationship, right? It's
Yeah.
really sacred.
Yeah. So, okay. So, real quick, you mentioned donut. I have not heard of that before. Just real quick for listeners who might be like, wait, what is that? What is donut? Just to say
So
a few words.
it's like a Slack bot machine essentially. You can install that into Slack and it will pair you up randomly each week or however you can set it up with whatever parameters you want to. But let's just say it's like let's say once a week you're randomly paired up with someone else across the organization. And it just says like, hey, here's some times that it'll look at your Google Calendar, for example. Like here's some times you have free together. Like how about you schedule time together and you just chit chat, and then it just
Oh,
becomes an event on your calendar. And then like there's no pressure. Like it's called donut because in theory, like you can like expense a donut or a coffee, and like you're having a coffee with someone, but
mm-hmm.
remotely. So yeah, just a moment to just kind of sit back and relax and really get to know. Especially as teams scale and grow, it becomes really harder. Like I've been on this team for a couple years now, and it's certainly like significantly larger now than it was 2 years ago. So now it's no longer realistic for me to know every single human being and interact with them on a regular basis. So Donut, like it's mind boggling that I'm still paired with people on Donut that I'm like, wow, I've never really actually spoken with this person before.
Mm.
Yet
Okay.
as a content marketer, again, then being like this is an audience of content marketers, like in reality, part of our job is internal journalist, right? Like we are looking
Yeah.
for subject matter experts across the organization. Even the more the more we can discover that SME that like we never even thought of before, the better our content is. And so these donuts are really so if you don't have a donut at your organization, be the one, the evangelist who actually brings it in because it would actually help you do your job even better.